So before I get into this video, I want to give a full game spoiler warning. If you haven't beaten the final boss of Xenoblade Chronicles, I recommend you wait until after you have to watch this video. With that out of the way, let's get into the video proper. And before I say anything else, I do want to say that since this is the first video that I'm making of this, I'm going to be giving a bit of extra explanation here at the start of the video. If you aren't interested in any of that and just want to see the build and strategy used for this time attack, timestamps for the different parts of the video will be in the description as well as chapters on the video. So the first thing I want to say here at the beginning of the video is that this is the first video in the series, so I would like to ask for feedback on how this video turns out. If there's anything about the format that you think can be better, anything that I can be more clear on, etc., please let me know in the comments of this video because this is the video I'm going to be basing the rest of the series off of. Now let's get into some housekeeping points. This is a guide series that I'm going to be making over the time attacks in Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, specifically over the free and free glitchless categories since those are the ones that I have the most experience in and that interest me the most. I'll be talking about the strategy for each time attack after I have a decent time in the category and have a good understanding of it, so some of the videos on some of the time attacks might not be made for a while. Additionally, if there are any new strategies that get found after I make a video over that time attack, I'll do my best to come back and make an updated video assuming that I'm still actively running time attacks. The purpose of this series is basically that there's a lot of small things that can easily go under the radar while watching a time attack, and which can make it quite difficult to learn the best strategies for the time attacks off of the gameplay alone. In this series, I'll be going over the full builds that I use and talking through the strategies that I use in my runs of the time attacks to help people get more into running time attacks in general. The last point I want to make is that in these videos, I'll have a list of links at the bottom of the description to things that I think might be useful for new players. Specifically, I'll have links to the video of the run that I'm going to be talking over in the final section of this video. If I'm doing a free category, I will have links to TJ Blakely's videos on Art Inheritance, and links to the speedrun.com leaderboard for the given time attack that I am covering, as well as a link to a pastebin containing a written version of the strategy. To me, this pastebin serves two purposes. The first is that it can be useful for people who prefer a written guide to a video guide, and the second is that it can make it easier for non-English speakers to get a translated version of the strategy. While it's not a perfect solution, a pastebin of the script can be run through a translator, whereas a video presentation is quite difficult to translate without someone that speaks both languages. If there's any other links I think might be useful, I'll also include those at the bottom of the description as well. So if you're all interested, check out what I have down there. That should be about all I have to say, so let's go ahead and get into the build proper. Alright, so now to get into the build. For the category Fair Game Free, the build and strategy is overall pretty simple, which is one of the reasons why I chose to cover this one first. Essentially, all you want to do is just put in as many damage increasing augments you can, as well as the strongest weapon you have. You don't need a mechon weapon because there's no mechon in this time attack. So I'm just running the Meteor Nibbler with attack stability, attack plus, and critical up, as well as 2 strength up gems. To be completely frank, this is way more than you need. You do not need gems this good to run this time attack and still have it be consistent. But I have the gems, so I figured I might as well run them all. To get into the skill trees, I'm running Heroism because critical hit rate up is generally more useful than any of Riki's other skills. And then all the skill links I'm running are basically just things that are going to increase my damage. I'll go ahead and roll over them real quickly so you can see them if you're interested. And the only ones I want to make particular note of, because they might seem a bit odd, is that I'm running Deadly Determination, Ardent Strike. These boost tension when using arts and landing critical hits, and while they are not overly important for this time attack, for some of the other ones they can be very useful for being more consistent, as you can use these to increase your tension up to high tension, which increases your critical hit rate, which can have a significant impact on your chances of succeeding in other time attacks. Finally, for arts, I'm running Hammer Beat on Riki as well as the True Activate Monado. This is specifically the Activate Monado that is on Shulk's talent art, and not Dunban's Activate Monado. You can tell the difference between them because Shulk's Activate Monado will have a full description, whereas Dunban's Activate Monado will not. This is the one that you need for this time attack, so make sure you have this one. None of your other arts matter. You can have as many or as few as you have equipped. I just have them removed right now because they don't matter. And for the only other thing of note is that you want to have Hammer Beat leveled up. I have it leveled up all the way to 12. You probably don't need it to be at 12. That's just what I just have it upgraded because I can. And none of the other arts matter, and none of your other party members matter. So you can run whatever party you want. Riki's the only character that matters for this time attack. With that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and hop into talking about the actual, or talking over my video of the actual run. Alright, so in this part of the video, I'm going to be going over the strategy of the actual time attack itself, while looking over at the video that I have on my YouTube channel of my personal best as of the time of recording this. For fair game free, my PB is a 9.46 seconds. So I'm going to be kind of just going through this video and talking over the strategy as well as things of note throughout it. So to start off, things are pretty simple. You're going to want to very quickly, I'm going to be going frame by frame here so you can kind of see it, quickly target onto the enemy, move your cursor over to the activate Monado, and then you're just going to want to activate as soon as you can. You can be faster than I was here, and I think that you could have target the first frame, move the cursor over to the activate Monado second frame, then activate the third frame. But it took me, it looks like about 4 or 5. Looks like it took me about 5 frames to do it here, so that is something that where time could be saved. And so, real quick to talk about Hammer Beat. Hammer Beat does damage in the enemy's proximity, which is why I use Hammer Beat and not some other art, such as Mind Blast, because those retain their hitbox in front of the user is a 20-meter fan shape. So those are significantly less useful than Hammer Beat for the purposes of this time attack. If you get lucky with all the enemies grouping up, you will be able to one-shot the wave. And then from here, you can be a little more strategic about how you target on the future waves. Specifically, you're going to be wanting to target the enemy that's in the middle of the group, as this is the one that's most likely to have you hit all 3 enemies with a single Hammer Beat. Hammer Beat has a pretty small radius to it, so you're going to want to do this to just kind of help your odds of succeeding, since the odds of actually succeeding in this time attack are not tremendously high. And once again, here you can see right here, the first frame, my arts become available. If I was mashing better, I could have activated Hammer Beat on this frame and saved another frame, but instead I got it on the second frame, so I lost another frame there to being perfectly optimal. And once again, wave 2 gets one shot. And then I do the same thing here, where in this wave there are actually 5 enemies, so you just want to target on whichever one seems to be the closest to the middle of the group, and just hope that they are all close enough to each other to be one shot by a single Hammer Beat. I'm actually going to rewind there so I can... So, once again, mashing on A here, and as soon as it gives me control and the ability to select my arts, it took me 3 frames to activate it here, so I lost 2 frames there. But you kind of get the idea of you want to just target onto the middle enemy and mash it as fast as you can. Now, obviously, compared to some of the other time attacks, this one is extremely simple, and yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I just kind of wanted to give an example of what me talking about the time attack would be, but I hope that helps people get an understanding of what you might want to do and how you can increase your odds of succeeding in this time attack. And I think that's about it, all I have for this video. Once again, any feedback is welcome down in the comments. This is the first time I'm making a video of this style, and I'd like to know what I can do better to make these videos easier to watch and more informative. With that out of the way, though, I think that's about all I have to say, so I will see you in the next one.